Hello everyone, yes I still exist and I cannot apologise enough for pretty much abandoning you without warning, without saying anything. I promise it was not my intention, but I haven't uploaded regularly in such a long time now and I feel so bad about it. I really do. And to be honest with you, I've not really got that much of an excuse as to why or where I've been. The reason I've missed my weekly wrap up slot for the last few weeks now is because, to be honest, I've just been a little bit slumpy in more ways than one recently, and I've not read enough to warrant filming and uploading a video every week of what I've read. But that is something that I actively want to change from now on, and I'm going to say now, very tentatively, that there may be a weekly wrap-up video this weekend, and I'm hoping that there will be quite a few books in it. I'm going to say that tentatively because, to be honest, I don't know what my head's going to do. I don't know what kind of mood I'm going to be in on Saturday when I have to film and upload the video, because, to be honest, that is possibly a lot of the reason as to why I've been absent recently. My mental health hasn't been great, my self-esteem's been pretty low, I haven't had a lot of energy, a lot of motivation, so I haven't really felt like making myself look presentable enough to put the camera on and get myself out there on the internet, if I'm going to be honest with you. I have also been quite busy. My schedule has been quite hectic, both obviously during working hours and outside of working hours. I've had stuff that's to do with work that has gone outside of the 9 to 5 time frame. I've got a lot of other stuff going on as well, and I think coupled with my low mental health at the moment, it's just not really been conducive enough to a regular booktube uploading schedule, and I think something somewhere's got to give in the midst of all of that, and sadly, as much as I love it, that has been my channel. But it is something that I really want to get my passion back for, because I am so grateful that people are still somehow subscribing to my channel and still talking to me on Twitter and still liking my Instagram posts, and I actually do still feel very much a part of the booktube community, which is absolutely amazing considering I haven't been uploading anywhere near as regularly as I used to. So thank you so much for that, everyone who has still been chatting to me and interacting with me and subscribing to my channel, which is just absolutely crazy. Thank you so much, and you are the reason why I want to get back into it properly. So I'm here today with a book haul that I should have done ages ago. I don't know if you remember in my last book haul, which again was months ago, I mentioned that I had recently acquired quite a few Stephen King books and that I felt that they kind of warranted their own little haul. So that is what I'm here with you guys to do today. There are 7 Stephen King books that I have recently acquired. I say recently acquired, but 6 of them I actually got ages and ages ago, because as I said, I should have done this haul ages and ages ago. So 6 of them I got from 2 of my very lovely bookish friends. One of them is Milena, who I follow on Twitter and Instagram, and we've been friends for quite a long time. And my other bookish friend, who also sent me a couple of Stephen King books recently, I say recently, is Charlie from Duvet Day Devours, who you guys will know because I talk about her all the time. So I'm going to start off with the 4 books, I know, 4 books that Milena sent me. Her husband is a massive Stephen King fan, and he was recently getting rid of some of his Stephen King books, and Milena very kindly sent me a message on Twitter asking if I wanted any, so I said, yes please, send me photos of all of the books that he's getting rid of and I will tell you which ones I want. So I picked 4 that I haven't read and don't own from the selection that she showed me, and the first one is this very lovely vintage edition of the Tommyknockers, and I am a sucker for these slightly cheesy looking horror paperbacks. I just think they are so cool. I don't know too much about this story, so I'm going to read the back of it. Everything was familiar, but everything had changed. The people, his old friend Bobby, even her decrepit, aging beagle. Coming back to the little community had been like walking into a nightmare. It all looked the same, the house, the furniture, Bobby herself, the woods out at the back. But it was in the woods that she had stumbled over the odd, nearly buried object, had felt a peculiar tingle as she knelt down and brushed the soft earth away. And looking back, that had been the start of the terrible, terrifying transformation of a quiet, unremarkable place into something utterly alien and hideous, a place of unrest and insane powers. That sounds like such a cool classic Stephen King horror story, and yeah, I'm so intrigued. So thank you for that, Milena. The next one that she sent me is The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub, and again this is a very well-loved little mass market vintage paperback. I got the sequel to this, Black House I think it's called, quite a long time ago, and I didn't know that Black House was a sequel to this, so I had been looking for a cheap copy of The Talisman for quite a long time, and so I just felt like I need this book when Milena showed it to me. Again, I don't know too much about this. So on the back it says, "The Talisman is the story of a young and courageous boy searching for the talisman, the one thing that will save his dying mother. His quest takes him into the menacing territories where violence, surprise, and the titanic struggle between good and evil reach across a mythic landscape in a novel as extraordinary and as unforgettable as Lord of the Rings." So that sounds really cool, possibly a fantasy element in that as well, which I wasn't aware of. So yeah, again, really intrigued by this one. The next one that Milena sent me is this lovely, very old hardback of Insomnia, and there's a very lovely young Stephen King on the back there. So I don't know too much about this one either. It says, "Insomnia, you'll lose a lot of sleep. Ralph does. At first he finds it hard to drop off, then he starts waking up earlier and earlier, but that isn't when he begins to see things. Colours, shapes, strange auras around his friends, not to mention the bald doctors who always turn up at the scene of a death, the evil-looking one clutching a rusty scalpel. All that comes later. After Susan Edwina Day's visit to the town of Derry, Maine is announced, when the once placid town starts to divide over women's issues, and the hitherto mild-mannered Ed Deepno gets out of control, dangerously so. That's when Ralph begins to lose a lot more than sleep. Then when he begins to understand why Ed is obsessed with the notion that Derry is becoming the new Armageddon, and to realise that time is ticking away for the residents of his hometown. An evil of unimaginable proportions has found a way in, and Ralph has one chance to beat it. In a card game, the stakes are high. They always are when you're playing for human souls, with a joker in the pack, a bald one with a rusty scalpel. Insomnia is a relentless waking nightmare in which the master of horror and suspense guarantees you sure won't rest in peace." So we're returning to Derry, of It fame. I'm so excited now that I know that, because I love Derry and I love the way that Stephen King writes about it. It is an actual force. It's not just a setting. It's not just a town. Everything creepy, spooky and weird happens in Derry, so I'm really excited to be revisiting it through Insomnia. So yeah, really excited for this one. And the last one that Milena sent me is Hearts in Atlantis. Again, I really love the vintage edition that this is. I think this is a collection of short stories. I believe this might actually be his first short story collection, maybe his second. Yeah, I think Night Shift was his first one, but I'm pretty sure this is a collection of short stories. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into this and seeing what I make of it. So the next two I got from my friend Charlie's little Facebook bookshop. I will leave a link to Charlie's bookshop in the description down below, so please go and check it out if you love mostly your darker books, because Charlie loves her horror and her thrillers, so go and check it out for all of those kinds of things. So two books that I recently got from Charlie's shop are The Long Walk by Stephen King. This was one of his Richard Bachman books. Richard Bachman is a pseudonym pseudonym that Stephen King sometimes writes under, and this was originally published under that name. I'm not too sure about this one either, so it says, against the wishes of his mother, 16-year-old Ray Garrity is about to compete in the annual grueling match of stamina and wits known as the Long Walk. 100 boys must keep a steady pace of 4 miles per hour without ever stopping, with the winner being awarded the prize, anything he wants for the rest of his life. But as part of this national tournament that sweeps through a dystopian America year after year, there are some harsh rules that Garrity and 99 others must adhere to in order to beat out the rest. There is no finish line. The winner is the last man standing. Contestants cannot receive any outside aid whatsoever. Slow down under the speed limit and you're given a warning. 3 warnings and you're out of the game permanently. That sounds so unique, and I don't think I've ever read a Stephen King dystopian. But that sounds really, really cool, and I'm so intrigued by those kind of bloody Converse on the front there. So yeah, sounds really, really unique and really, really exciting. So really excited about that one. And the second one that I got from Charlie's Shop is actually one that I have already read. I read it a few years ago, and this is actually the edition that I had, and I gave it away, but I really, really want to reread it, and that is Rose Madder. So from what I remember of this, this is about a woman who's on the run from her violent husband. She flees their relationship, and she ends up living in this small town, and she finds this very strange painting in an antique store, I think, and as she kind of, you're not really sure whether she's descending into madness or whether this painting is somehow alive or that there's some kind of other world behind this painting. It's really, really weird, as Stephen King often is, but it's really, really exciting as well, and it's all about you trying to decide exactly what's real and what isn't. And that's pretty much all I remember from it. That's why I really need to reread it. I kind of feel that Stephen King books are definitely the kind of books that you can reread over and over again, because you'll always get a different meaning every time, because they are that weird, and there possibly are like multiple different answers to them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, really, really excited to have a copy of Rose Madder again, and I'm hoping to reread it super soon. So yeah. And the last one in this book haul is his latest release. So obviously I bought this one myself, and that is The Outsider by Stephen King. So this is his latest release. I believe this is a crime mystery in a similar vein to Mr. Mercedes, and is it the Bill Hodges trilogy? I think that's what the Mr. Mercedes and the rest of those books are called. So I think this is in a similar vein. I don't think it is a Bill Hodges book though. I think it's just another crime story. Yeah, when an 11-year-old boy is found murdered in a town park, reliable eyewitnesses undeniably point to the town's popular Little League coach, Terry Maitland, as the culprit. DNA evidence and fingerprints confirm the crime was committed by this well-loved family man. Horrified by the brutal killing, Detective Ralph Anderson, whose own son was once coached by Maitland, orders the suspect to be arrested in a public spectacle, but Maitland has an alibi, and further research confirms he was indeed out of town that day. As Anderson and the district attorney trace the clues, the investigation expands from Ohio to Texas, and as horrifying answers begin to emerge, so King's propulsive story of almost unbearable suspense kicks into high gear. Terry Maitland seems like a nice guy, but there is one rock-hard fact as unassailable as gravity. A man cannot be in 2 places at the same time, can he? So that sounds super, super intriguing, and I've actually recently agreed to buddy read this with a brand new booktuber called Courtney, whose channel I will leave a link to in the description down below. We've only started talking on Twitter, but we already found we have so much in common. So she's my newest little booktube friend, and we are going to be buddy reading this at some point. So obviously, Courtney, let me know when you want to buddy read it, and we will definitely sort that out. So yeah, really, really excited to dig into this one. And that is it for my Stephen King haul. Have you picked up any Stephen King books or any books in general recently? Please let me know. I can't promise when my next video will be up. I will aim to get one up at some point this weekend for you guys, but hopefully I will see you very soon for another video. I will leave all of my social media in the description down below. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you hopefully very soon for another video. Bye bye.